Hey, this is Dean Soto, founder of freedomin5minutes.com and prosulum.com, prosulum.com. And we are here again. Today, we're going to talk about the 3 reasons why you are where you are right now. That and more coming up. All right, so let's get into it. I recently had an incident happen where I had a friend who he's still a friend, but just in a very different capacity. Where I had a friend who was requesting my help to get him out of a particular situation. It was more of an investment. And so I don't really have any negative feelings with this particular situation. So don't misconstrue what I'm about to share with you as a necessarily negative thing. It is what it is, and it's a great lesson for you, great lesson for me, just a very good reminder of you are where you are because of the things that you do. All right. So this friend was part of a lot of the content that I had been putting out for not for the last few months, last few weeks. And he was in a particular situation where he had a really cool skill set. Let's just put it that way. He had a skill set that a lot of people would die for. And he was essentially a professional poker player. So if you think of Matt Damon in the movie Rounders, he had the potential to be Matt Damon. So if you remember in the movie, if you've ever watched Rounders, which if you have not, it is what made poker such a household name. Prior to all of this, people thought poker was just gambling. But of course, if you look at the whole poker realm right now, it couldn't possibly just be gambling, because you see the same people over and over and over and over again. And that was the whole premise about the movie Rounders. So in that movie, what happened? Matt Damon went from being this amazing poker player to getting crushed and had to build his way back up, went and did things that he really wasn't passionate about and so on. And then eventually, I'm not going to ruin it for you, but it was the whole hero's journey, but it had to do with poker. And a very similar situation had happened with this friend. And so I thought to myself, you know what? I invest. This is one of the ways that I leverage and use my capital to continue to do amazing things in my family and my business and so on. And so I thought to myself, you know what? I'm going to invest in this person. Because I actually felt the fire when he started talking about how he ran his whole poker skill set. And I could feel it. And when you know somebody is passionate, not just passionate about something, but somebody's passionate and has the skill behind it, you know. And so I gave him the opportunity. I invested into him. We were going to split the winnings. And mind you, he was in a very bad financial situation. So obviously there's a risk there. He was in a very bad just relationship situation. So there's a risk there. And our whole goal was let's change it. You are where you are because of specific choices. So let's change it. Well, it didn't work out too well. And I hope, I pray, I think it's going to go very well with this guy. But part of what happened was he had a big loss, which is going to happen. I've had big losses in my business. That's part of the game. That's part of, you don't win high stakes rewards unless you're ready for the high stakes risks, right? So under that first loss, what happened? He crumbled. And essentially, long story short, it just did not work out. And after trying to help and everything like that, part of my thing is, if you're not going to accept my help from a business standpoint, if you're not going to listen to me help you to get out of your state financially, help you to get to the next stage, even just relationship wise and all this other stuff, to help you to get to that next level. And yet you're asking me for my advice. If you don't listen, then we're done. Like literally forever. That is one of my big pet peeves. And if you don't like it, that's fine. If you think it's arrogant, I don't care. It is what it is, right? So still friends, but we'll never do any help business-wise. It just will not happen. Okay. It is just one of my things. All right. So that being said, why do I bring this up? I bring this up because it was a very good example of the 3 reasons why you are where you are right now. Okay. And you might be in a great place. And kudos to you if that's the case, because no matter what, this is going to have the same effect whether you're in the successful place or you're in an unsuccessful place, in a place that you don't want to be, okay? So that being said, let's get into it. So the first thing that's a huge indicator of where you are right now and why you are where you are right now is the need for constant diversion. Okay, now, there are 2 types of diversions. There are the types of diversions that lead to success, and there's the type of diversions that keep you stagnant where you are. Okay. Unfortunately, our school systems, and a lot of the times it's not your fault, it's because the fact is that our school systems, my wife is texting me. Okay, anyway. The school systems, as well as even our religious institutions, trust me, I'm religious, I'm Christian, I'm not knocking anything. Religious, pretty much every institution out there teaches us that it is okay to watch television all the time. It is okay to listen to music all the time while you're studying. You know, even in the movies, when somebody's studying in a library, usually they have their earphones in, right? And they have to come in. Oh what? Yeah. Oh, okay. The constant need for diversion is a result of many, many, many things. But the fact is that, at least in America, on average, the average man spends 5 or more hours a day watching television. And generally, unless you're watching Shark Tank or The Prophet or something like that, I haven't watched TV in a long time. I don't even know what's on there, really. Generally, you're not going to be learning anything that's going to help your situation. Okay, it is there, and it is meant to keep you where you were at. So you are you are a tax cattle. You don't figure out how to do things like start corporations and work the tax system, and you're there as a nice little cow just giving to the system that isn't really serving you. Okay, whether you want to believe me or not, I don't care. It is what it is. Diversion is not always bad. If you're diverting yourself with listening to Audible, I don't necessarily even like podcasts. Podcasts tend to be a little bit more on the entertainment side, which, by the way, entertainment comes from the whole etymology of that is to entrap the mind or to keep and hold the mind. You don't want to be entertained. You want to be growing. Diversions can be good. If you're listening to something that's teaching you sales, as you're driving, maybe you're watching a sales how to do a sales presentation, marketing, how to lift weights better, how to build your relationship better. Things like that are diversions, quote unquote, that can bring you to the next level. But a lot of us just watch TV, play video games, watch the P hub, if you know what I'm saying, and literally waste all of our energy and get stuck exactly where you're at, rather than using, even if you needed to have a diversion, rather than shifting it over to listening to audiobooks that are teaching you a specific skill and changing the way that your brain thinks. Okay. Ultimately, though, the best way to get out of the whole diversion trap is to start doing something. Start building a business. Start trying something new. Start talking to that girl that you wanted to talk to. Start talking to that guy that you wanted to talk to. Start talking to people just in general. Do things that will bring about some kind of growth, which leads to the next thing, because once you start doing things, generally this is where you will stop. Okay. The second reason why you are where you are is because of emotional crumbling. Emotions cause you to crumble. So I have a friend who actually I became a client to at one of my jiu-jitsu gyms. Not my gyms, but the one that I attend, who started his own business teaching mobility and how to become super flexible. And I really needed that because I'm not flexible at all. I paid him $50. He was a young kid, and he actually got a couple of clients. But then he started realizing how is he going to fulfill on all of this? How is he going to set everything up and scale and everything like that, right? With that came the emotions of, oh crap, Dean's not coming on this time, and my guy's coming over here, and now emotions of fear, emotions of self-doubt, the emotions of I'm an imposter, the emotions of, oh, I should be going into college rather than starting my own business. All these emotions started coming. As far as I know, I haven't really talked to him about it, but that's the way it seems. That's from my experience. And then, boom, just gone. Nothing. I haven't heard anything at all. Haven't heard anything at all regarding his venture. That is because of the emotions that cause you to crumble. Men today are not emotionally strong. When I started my business back in 2009, I got so many no's. I got people who took advantage of me. And had I not pushed through, had I gone through the emotion, I had emotions that I never thought I would ever have. When a customer didn't like the way that I did something, or when somebody commented on my YouTube, or somebody commented on and wrote a nasty email back, and I would be floored for like 3 days thinking about how angry I was at them. And now, when I get a nasty email, or when I get somebody who is more on the negative side, it's kind of, okay, that's your prerogative. It is what it is. But that came through emotional strength that I did not have before. Had I not continued to push through year after year after year after year after year, that same emotional collapse probably would have taken down my marriage. Like all of those emotions that I didn't realize that I was weak to would have caused possibly my entire marriage to crumble at some point in time. Now, my wife and I and 9 kids are thriving, building amazing things in California, and that's pretty awesome. Yeah. But being emotionally weak comes from the first part of constant diversion. When you're constantly watching this other person on the screen do amazing things, do the courageous things, go through the suffering, go through the pain, and you are not the one doing that, that is where you end up thinking you have those skills, but as soon as it comes, soon as a trouble comes, boom, that's when you get taken out. And rather than being forced to continue or having the guts to continue, a lot of the times, what do we go back to doing? Back to the diversion. Oh, let's go back. Oh, Jack Reaper or whatever his name, and Born Identity and all these different people, they can go do that. And then I get all pumped up and I think I'm going to go do something like that again. And then I go do it. And then take me back to school. Oh, I was going to start a business, but let me go back to the university. Then it's much safer and they have a plan for me. Take me back to my corporate job. And I'm not knocking corporate jobs. I was in a corporate job for a while before I was able to get to where I'm going right now, where I am right now, okay? But it is the cowering of cowering and ignoring your destiny because of the emotions that you're feeling, okay? And ultimately, number 3 is short-term thinking. Short-term thinking, okay? I don't know how many times I see men, and I predominantly talk with men about men because I'm a man, right? How many times I see men think in the short term. Men by nature are meant to see far. Men by nature are meant to see long distance because we're hunters. That's the way we are programmed, to be hunters, to go out and get our food. Nowadays, men have been taught to sit and wait and get the gold star from school and to get instruction from the teacher of what they're supposed to do next. That whole thing bleeds into their daily life, even when you have your family. Okay? You live for the weekends. The weekend's over. You go to work. What's next? You go to work for the week. You go to the weekend. You enjoy yourself. And then you go to Monday. What's next? Go to work. Go through the rest of the week. Go to the weekend. Go to Monday. What's next? That's it. For the most part, you're told by your boss what to do. Well, the thing is, your boss, unless they're a middle manager or lower level manager and so on, generally, if you're in a small company, your boss is there because he did not do any of that. He took all of the risks of long-term thinking to build what is giving you that direction. Okay. Now, that same boss, when it comes to current events, if you look at the last year, how much things have increased in price. Eggs, different types of food, whether it's eggs or just eggs alone were like 30% increase. Food in general is like 30 something plus percent increase, if not more. That's for the process. That's for the processed food, the crappy food. That's not even the real food. The real food is blown up even more than that. Probably more like 50%, if not double. And yet, you would have seen this coming if your diversion wasn't a man throwing a ball on a field. If your diversion wasn't Homer Simpson. If your diversion wasn't I don't even know what's out there anymore. Some dumb Netflix thing. Okay? You would have learned through your audiobooks and then subsequently through different YouTube channels talking about what's going down in the economy and what's coming, that this stuff was going to happen. So when it comes to energy bills that are just skyrocketing, when it comes to natural gas, when it comes to different things that are going to affect your life in the long term, you would have been ready. Whether it's buying silver or buying crypto, whether it's investing in a business that grows at 100% per year, that offsets the 50% inflation that essentially is happening right now. They might say with the government says, and the news says as you're watching your diversion, oh, it's 7%, it's 8%, it's this and that. In reality, if you look at your reality, how much were you paying last year? How much are you paying this year for virtually everything? That's the real inflation number. And it is definitely not 6, 7, 8%. It's by far double digits. Okay? And even with that, is it really inflation or is it supply chain? These are the things to know, because who knows? If you look now, as the supply chains get better, or certain industries, the supplies are there, then you'll have deflation and you might get deals, right? The people who are selling their homes now, they're starting to see, oh crap, I can't sell my home for what it is, right? These are the things that you would know ahead of time if you had long-term thinking. And this is not meant to shame you. This is not meant to say, well, look at me. This is how I think. I mess things up all the time. But these are the 3 things that if you start listening in your car to business podcasts, let's just say business podcasts and business audiobooks, or a skill set of audiobooks. It could be on art. It could be on sewing. It could be on whatever your skill set that you want to use and grow with. It can be on that. Or how can you get emotionally strong? Going to the gym, putting yourself out there with a business, putting yourself out there with your art, putting yourself out there with your music, whatever it is, so you can get the feedback. You're going to get negative feedback, but you're going to get positive feedback as well. And then become emotionally strong, and then start thinking in the long term. These are the 3 things that indicate the reasons why you are where you are right now. Focus on those 3 things consistently every day, and you will be way better off in, say, 3 years, max 5. It took me about 5 years to leave my corporate job with my business. You will be far better off doing those 3 things than by doing what you're doing right now. All right, this is Dean Soto. Go check out freedomin5minutes.com and prosulam.com. If you run a business and you want to scale the easy way, if you want to scale from 6 figures to 7 figures or 7 figures to 8 figures, the easy way with a virtual systems architect, go check out either one of those, and you can skyrocket your business by just getting one virtual systems architect, one VSA. All right. So this is Dean Soto, and I'll see you in the next video.